Hi, so I'm Laura Becker. I'm a detransitioner. I give a presentation on the psychology of detransition. So I am here to raise awareness about detransition, understanding the psychological motivations behind it, and how do we heal and move on from detransitioning.
Yeah, you just gave an excellent presentation. That was just really personal and filled with a lot of just almost common knowledge, like how trauma, treat detransitioners as if they're going through a trauma, any trauma that's not, that we all face. But could you maybe give one big takeaway from your talk? If you had to tell somebody one thing, what would that one thing be?
I think the main piece that I want to take away is detransition is existential. I think I said in the presentation, all of these underlying core issues and motivations for transition and detransition, they're not trans people problems. They're not detrans people problems. They are human problems. They are existential problems. And luckily we have a, rich history of existential philosophy and all sorts of resources to deal with the immense, inconsolable grief that comes from detransitioning. It isn't just a political process. I don't want a detransitioner as a survivor of this trauma to feel like they are just a political prop or a talking point for either side. I want people to understand you are a survivor of some complex trauma, and there are resources to help you. But we need to understand this through an existential lens and broaden it away from gender only.
Very true. So what would you like to see happen now? What would you like to see the world do or change?
I would like there just to be more awareness of trauma. I would like there to be more trauma-informed care in general. A lot of what happened to me is I did see mental health professionals, but they were incompetent. There's a lot of incompetence in the mental health profession, not just with activist doctors, but just with low-quality counselors in general. So I'd love to see more awareness of trauma, and especially for people that are working with trans populations. The affirmative model is bullshit. We should not be adhering to that whatsoever. There is no scientific evidence. It's experimental, it's activist, it's a spiritual belief. You are colluding with someone's spiritual belief that they have a opposite sex soul when you affirm that. Real psychotherapy or counseling or peer support is about skills, it's about values, it's about getting to the core of your goodness as a human being, transcending sex, but also working with your sex. Your biological sex is a creative constraint, but it's better to have a pencil and a paper and to be drawing something with only that than to imagine, I wish I had all this glitter and I wish I had all this paint and all this, and do nothing. You have a limitation, it's called life, and then death is the final limitation. So you need to be able to work within that reality.
I'm just reminded of the other speakers who said reality has a no, right, to it. So that being said, were there any speakers or any people that you were especially excited to hear from or to meet at this conference?
I think I was most looking forward to meeting the comedians, Andrew Doyle and Graham Linehan. I'm a huge comedy fan. Comedy kind of got me through. Even when I was insufferably woke, I always kind of shied away from the woke cults because they weren't funny. They were humorless. I couldn't say certain things I wanted to say, certain words, and they were policing my free speech in comedy. So for me, they're going to speak later today, but I got the privilege of having dinner with them last night. We got to talk comedy. It made me feel good to just talk about creative pursuits instead of all this doom and gloom.
That's great. Thanks so much, Laura.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, one more question. Sorry. You have a book coming out. Where can people find you and your book?
So yes, I am releasing a memoir called Surviving the Trans Myth. It's in the process, but you should definitely follow me on Twitter at Laura Becker Real, or you can find me on YouTube, same thing. Just look up laurabecker.org. You're going to be able to find me spreading around like a venereal disease, I hope, in a pro-social way. But yeah, look for that book, Surviving the Trans Myth, coming 2025.
Awesome. I can't wait to read it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.